Well, hi, good morning. Thanks so much for joining me in my shop here. It's April 3rd, and yesterday I was performing the IF alignment on the AM side of this radio and the FM side. And AM side was nothing surprising there, but the FM side, I can't believe what happened. It just brought this radio right back to life. And I find this really surprising. I have aligned, for better or worse, hundreds of radios. Never have I had one respond like this one. Why exactly this thing was so far out of alignment, I don't know. There's only 2 or 3 possibilities. One is component drift. That's probably what it was. Another one is somebody beat me to it and has twiddled around with some of the alignments, especially the 2 alignment things up here in the tuner. I don't know. All I know is that, wow, what a difference. So there's more to do in terms of the alignment, both the AM side, shortwave, and the FM side of things. And I have another radio almost identical to this one that is also suffering from terrible FM reception for reasons I don't understand. And perhaps I just haven't twiddled things far enough, especially again up in this transformer that's in here, tuned transformer. I don't know, so surprising. So anyway, to carry on here, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat the FM alignment steps I took yesterday. I'm going to repeat them again today. Should go pretty quick. And then move on to more difficult FM detector alignment things that need to be done. The difficulty with this radio is I don't have the English instructions for it. I have the English instructions for the other radio. I have certainly a good concept of what is actually going on with the alignment step. I have to put in a couple of temporary resistors to enable a test point and a few other things. I had found from experience that even after performing a technical alignment using equipment and following the instructions, an ear alignment is often very helpful, where you just listen to the quality of the radio and slightly adjust some of the key alignment things. So maybe that's where this is going to. I could even be there right now, where I just forget the technical side. I have an understanding of what it is I'm adjusting, and just go ahead and do it while listening to a radio station. That's very tempting. It's very tempting because it's so easy and quick to do. As I said, I seem to end quite a few FM alignments by doing that kind of thing anyway. And this one came back so well, just from doing the few alignment things I did. It's very tempting to just get out the alignment stick and give it a shot, just listening to a station. I don't think I'm alone in this. I know at least one of another individual years ago told me that ultimately in an FM alignment it's listening with your ear and doing the fine adjustments that way, but as opposed to just following the technical instructions. Well, I'm almost set up and ready to go here. I've got my signal generator already warmed up and running it. Although it says 10.697, that's really pretty close to 10.7. Exactly, my counter's a little low. And considering how little of the signal was getting into the IF stages from the tuner, because the tuner was so far out of alignment, I think repeating it again with, I guess I would say, a more standard situation, the one that those who wrote the alignment instructions would think is happening. Maybe there's a little more to get out of it yet. Okay, so let's fire up the radio and see if it really, was I dreaming yesterday? Did it really work that well? Okay, I'll power on. Away we go. Now I've pulled out the FM antenna, come to think of it. Here, I thought I'd better do this with the FM antenna disconnected. Let me stick it back in. We'll just give a quick listening test. So notice the magic eye began operating the way you would want it on FM. So that last station we just listened to, where he's running so far away, I'm going to turn the volume again. If you listen, you'll hear a hiss along with the program. The underlying noise is audible. So that noise is part of the is an amplitude modulation in the signal that is normally eliminated right at the detector stage when the signal is strong enough. So if it's strong enough, the signal that rises up to a limit. Here, my limit. I can't work my hands like this. There's a limit, and the idea is that signal needs to be beyond that limit, and everything that's out here, which is all the amplitude modulation, gets discarded. And from then on, the signal on an amplitude basis is absolutely uniform, except the frequency is varying. It then goes into the FM detector. The FM detector essentially converts this back to this, because that's what you need for the speaker. But the noise is left behind in the limiter stage. But the key thing is the signal has to be big enough to hit those limits. As some radios have a limiter circuit in them right after the IF, and others utilize a type of detector, ratio detector it could be, but don't quote me on that. And the detector itself has a limiting function or a limiting effect, and so that saves the radio manufacturers a stage. They don't need a limiter stage as such. That's probably what's going on in this radio, and that the reason we're hearing the hiss is the signal's just not strong enough. Now that could be because, well, it's a far away FM station. It'll never be strong enough. Or it could be that there's still some lacking gain in the radio because of the alignment and the way it went yesterday. And alignment is an iterative process. I find a lot of things in life are iterative. You have to revisit them over and over, whatever it is, in order to reach the top, or to get the most, if you like. Okay, so I'm going to follow the steps as recommended, just like I did yesterday. I'm going to avoid the detector alignment for now, and even though I'm really tempted, this radio sounds really good. It sounds to me like all it needs is if there is some, get a little more gain into it. Really, one of the key things that's out of sorts with this radio now is the pointer. The pointers are both just floating here. They're not attached to their strings anymore. That's really a more important issue, maybe. Or is it going to become the important issue very soon? A lot of the alignment work cannot be done with these pointers not attached to the string. And where exactly do you attach them to the string? Hopefully I'll find some information or figure out how to figure that out. Okay, let me get everything set up to do the FM alignment. It should go pretty quick. Okay, before I get into the radio work, I want to do a camera test. I have 3 cameras I use in my shop. One of them I call the close-up camera, but it's not. It's just a camera that can focus very, very closely. So I have 2 Microsoft cameras, and I have one camera which is a Logitech camera. These are all well-known, good quality cameras. They're not very expensive, around $100 a piece, and I rely on them all the time. So I'm just going to flip through them one at a time, and we'll just look for detail in the image here. In particular, looking at the scale here and the pointer is probably a good test. So this first one is it's called a Life Cam, and the next one is going to be the Logitech one. So this is a Life Cam. This is the Logitech.
LifeCam Logitech. I believe the LifeCam here actually has lower standards, if you like, than the Logitech. The Logitech, this one, should be better. Now these are auto-focused, but they're focused at their maximum distance. That's where they want to be here. Well, to me, when I look at these two, it's pretty clear. It's kind of a pun. The LifeCam, this one appears better than the Logitech. I can't read any of the numbers up here at all. I hardly even know they exist. Now I'm going to bring in the third camera here, which is called a, I'm sorry, which camera was I using? LifeCam. This one's that. Yeah, LifeCam Cinema. So this is the Cinema camera. That's what I really should say. The other camera I'm going to show you is also a LifeCam, but it's the studio version. So here we go, from the better LifeCam to the better yet Studio. This is the difference between a 720 and a 1080 camera. This is the 1080. This is the 720. You can definitely see a difference. Lesson learned. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to retire the Logitech and use it only occasionally. And I use it almost 100% of the time on these videos. I think I'm going to switch things around. I think that shows a good improvement. Shame on me for not doing this months ago. Okay, just to finish that off, this is what a Microsoft camera looks like. Nice and really small. This is the one I call my close-up camera because I can hold it. I can hold it right up against things and get a really close view of stuff. That's the first time I've ever heard any kind of interference coming from the camera. How do you like that? That's another thing that's amazed me about all these cameras. I put them right into all this equipment. They don't do anything. Well, apparently it does. So that's my close-up camera you hear me talk about regularly. The other Microsoft camera looks exactly like this. It's just of a higher quality. The one you're looking through right now. And this is the Logitech. And I'm not trying to promote these. I'm not doing that with my channel, by the way. I could talk a little bit about all the invitations I get to promote products and services and all kinds of stuff on my channel. I could probably make money doing that, but I don't. So this is the Logitech camera. This is a well-known camera. I think it's a C290. I'm not sure of the number of it. A 1080p camera. Nice camera. Now the thing is, this has taken a beating. I've dropped this on the floor numerous times. So the fact that it's a little out of focus or just not as sharp as the others, you know, it could simply be because I've worn it out essentially here. So I'm going to put that one aside. It'll still be useful from time to time. From here on in, I'm going to use this camera and give you a better view. I'm sure it's a better view. A little bouncy the way I have it on my tripod here. Okay, now another thing that happened here is I just out of curiosity, shame on me, I wiggled one of the tubes here. You can't see it there. I wiggled one of the tubes here, this one, and the result of that wiggling, the radio went dead pretty much. I wiggled it, couldn't seem to get it back. Then I wiggled it and left it, and the radio slowly came back. So that tells me the heater was going on and off on that tube. Now that could be all kinds of things doing that, socket related things, or it could be cracked solder underneath. So I don't want to get underneath the radio right now. I'm going to leave it as it is. Everything's working, the tube is operating. It was only in two states. Either it didn't work or it worked just like you hear it now. There wasn't anything in between. So eventually I'll deal with that problem. It's probably cracked solder, but can't be sure. Okay, and you can hear the signal coming out of the radio, but it's very quiet. That's because I have my signal generator really low now, because everything is tuned up. The signal's being fed in through the sleeve here. My taped up sleeve into the tube. It's pretty darn hot. I suppose that's interfering with the cooling of the tube a bit. not enough to worry about. There we are. We're all set to go. Got my tool, got the meter here. Let's make sure that the meter is responding not to the hiss but to the tone, so I'll vary the level of the tone. Aha! What's going on? Up my signal generator. We'll see now if this is the level of the tone. Yes, it is. Okay. Now the fact that there's some hiss coming through also means that that signal strength is below the limiter. That's maybe handy in doing an alignment. Does that make sense what I just said? Yes, it does. Yeah, I think it does. So we're going to start right back here. We're doing the lower slugs, only the one on the left. Here we go. Nope, that's happy where it is. Go to the next one. Okay, here we go. I don't think I'm turning it. Banging my head on everything. Okay, we're in the slug. There we go. Very subtle peak there, right in this range. Not making a lot of difference with that one. Okay, I'm setting the tool. There we are. Look at that. I missed a little bit there. Watching that meter very, very carefully. Let's go back to the one that didn't seem to make a difference. Is it just so far away? Let's just go, go, go. Okay, come back out. It's just not a sharp peak. Okay, right around there. Okay, now the ones that made the huge difference were the two up here. So another factor in when I was checking my cameras was I have low lighting in here. If the camera has a mechanical iris, and I don't know that they do, I don't think they do, but it could be the lower lighting may have caused, I don't think they have an iris like that, but if they did, lower lighting will open it up and then the depth of field becomes very limited, and that could cause a focusing issue. That's how our eyes work. That's why if you're like me, I'm at an age where my eyes don't focus closely, but if you put enough light on things, things start coming into better focus, simply because my pupil is shrinking. I'm operating a pinhole camera. Oh, look at this. This one wasn't quite on the money. There we are. Okay, there's no more I can do with that. Now, either I do a technical adjustment on the last slug in this can, which is part of the detector, or I do an ear thing, which I'm really tempted to do, just listening to the radio when it's tuned in very, very precisely on a reasonable station, or
leave it all alone. You know what? Maybe leaving it alone is the right way to go for this radio. See, so much else has been, well, really, only this has been way out. Well, there's other alignment things I can do. I can turn my attention to the RF side of the AM alignment and fix that up, and leave well enough alone with the FM alignment. I think maybe that's what I'm going to do, because the FM sound is really good. Look at this bouncy camera I have now. The reason it's bouncing is because this camera's has this feature which is very handy. This bending part here is quite handy, but this is really meant for hanging on someone's screen, right? This is really meant for webcam stuff, you know, talking to your friends, putting your face on. But this turns out to be fairly handy in the way it bends. But the problem is, that's the problem there. That's why you're seeing that effect. See, I just reveal everything in my videos. Great. Good. Okay. All is revealed. Well, I think the thing I really need to do next is sort out where these pointers go on the string. I can't do much more alignment without sorting that out. Bouncy camera. So it is possible that maybe this is roughly where the pointer should be. The tuning is FM. Tuning is AM. I still have this radio on. Hello, 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 hello. Sorry about that. Okay. So the tuning is, doesn't actually matter where the tuning is. Doesn't matter. We look at the string here. The pointer goes right in this area here somewhere. I can see a divot right here and another one right here in the string. And those would line up with where the grips once were. Right here. So I could just put it back on the string exactly where it came from. The thing is, I'm probably going to have to apply glue to fix the string to the pointer. That's kind of a one-way trip. So what if it was in the wrong place right at the start? I have come across radios where the pointer is not in the right place. They usually provide hints. There, it's just dragging it along. Right on the front here as to where the pointer should go. Usually go to one extreme, there can be a mark on there. Backlighting is very poor. There are marks. There's a little mark right in front of my finger there. It's all the way down. There's 3 of them. Why would they bother with 3? And if we look at the other end here, there may or may not be similar marks. So what there is there are 3 dots over here. Dot, dot, dot. And they are why would they mark it at both ends? So this is a different kind of mark. Oh, wait a minute now. There's a mark here. And there's a mark here. These are the alignment marks. So this mark is right in the, it's just another dot along the numbers. But this other mark is a little tiny pointer. Those have to be the alignment marks. So this has to be the pointer alignment mark. And the idea would be you tune the radio to the extreme there. And the pointer should be right on this mark.
And that does not line up well. No, I don't think it really lines up that well with the dents in the string. So this dent is here. This one's quite visible here, right here. This one's right here. You know, okay, I'll put the pointer back on the mark. That's pretty much lined up there. You've got a parallax thing happening in the camera, so I haven't cleaned this yet. Don't like cleaning them until the radio's working really well. So, okay, based on my eye, this is in the perfect position. So I just put a little dab of glue right there. Just have to glue it there. That would probably do the trick. I have to think about what kind of glue. Epoxy would do the trick. That'd be pretty permanent. I don't want to put too much on because maybe someday this string is going to break and somebody's going to have to redo it and they're going to have to get this off the string. That'll be their problem, won't it? That won't be my problem. Will the glue attack the string? I don't think so. This looks like just not a plastic string. It's actually some kind of expensive string that doesn't stretch. There can't be any stretch in the string here. If there's any stretch in it, then when you turn the knob, any resistance in the tuning system, especially right at the tuning capacitor, will result in simply stretching the string back and forth. So the pointer will move, but this won't move. And that gives you a terrible tuning experience. Now, is there any of that happening here? No. No. I think it's perfectly fine. Okay, I make up my mind about the glue, stick it on there, and then we can carry on. The FM pointer's in the same boat. The difficulty with the FM pointer, I don't think it's anywhere near as accessible as this thing. This is totally accessible up here. Deal with one at a time. Okay, so I decided to use this stuff here. Glues it. It's just glue. I'm not trying to promote it. I'm not trying to suggest it's a great glue. It's just glue. Now, wait a minute now. Just a second here. I got glue on the stick. I got it on the stick too soon. Because this has to be sitting on the string in the right distance forward, or it's going to drag on the backing paper here. This backing paper is actually a diffuser for the lights. Oh, look at that bounce. I'm going to have to deal with the bounce on this camera. Make it usable like this. Right now the pointer is set too far back. Can I pull it right out? No, the pointer is on another string down here, which makes sure the pointer can't swing like this. So it's held at the top and the bottom. I can't get it off the bottom. So much of the string grip is still intact on this one. Let's see if I can use it. this radio's still on. I'm going to turn it off here. It's because I'm not paying attention to it while it's on. I should glue it like this because this is actually setting its position front to back. I don't know if you can really see what I'm up to here. Okay, I almost glued my shirt there. So now looking at the front again, this is pretty tough. Glue it on both sides. Okay, this glue is not going to go super hard, super fast. It's not even going to stick. It's already gone. There we go. I have to glue it on this side too. Okay, then I'm going to have a couple minutes to position it very exactly. This is all the way. Way too far along. Too far along. Right there. This might be a 2-glue attempt. Be iterative gluing. Okay, so it's lined up with the pointer. Glue is in place. It's sunk down just a little bit. And of course, if I'm not careful, it'll do this a little bit too. I don't want that to happen. I kind of, I find when you're looking at something, if things are not lined up the way they should be, just a little bit out, it really draws your eye. And I think it's annoying to your brain. Your brain's trying to figure out what's going on. And you find it annoying, even though you might not know what it is. It's like walking into a messy room or walking into a neat room. Something like that. That looks perfect. That looks perfect. Okay, so I'll let this harden up. And that should be enough hold right there, but I could apply a little bit more if I care to. Maybe towards the very end of the repair. But for now, that's going to grip the string, I'm sure. Okay, and I can't do anything about the FM one right now. But that's okay. We're going to concentrate on the AM side of things here. Okay, before fiddling with the alignment on either the broadcast band or shortwave, I think it's worth playing the radio a little bit and hearing what it does. Right now, the only antenna that's connected is the antenna that comes with it. That guy. The antenna that's built into the radio for the broadcast band. What can we get? Should get a station at right about here.
Call on Reliance. You've heard it hundreds of times. Did you know that when it comes to your career, you can also call on Reliance? Are you an HVAC technician, plumber, electrician, or water heater installer? Interested in an apprenticeship? Reliance is busy and growing with great opportunities for you. You can develop your skills, get competitive compensation, and lots of work year-round. Everything you'd expect from an industry leader. Whether you're looking to start your career as a skilled tradesperson or grow your career.
So that's probably 590 there. We might get 610. Six 610 is farther away. There's the civil defense marker. That's at 640, actually. There's a station at 640. Yeah. That's the nuclear bombs coming. The nuclear bombs are coming. So And does this system still work? If things were happening in the United States, would they start broadcasting on this frequency? So there's noise in my shop. It's just wiping out the other station, the station that should be there. Let's keep going. 740 is possible with some radios. 680 should come in. No, it could just be the way I've got the antenna angled here is just not good. Let's go up a little further. Did I say 740? This is where 740 would be. There it is. Okay, the French station is 860. There it is. Okay, now I've got an outdoor antenna. There's no use checking higher up in the band. There's nothing up there at this time of day. I'm going to hook up my external antenna, outdoor antenna. And we're going to see if this improves the situation or not. Probably won't. But you never know. I've got two leads here from the antenna. One is a grounded lead, and the other one is the signal wire, if we can call it that. I hook up the signal wire first, and hook it up to the antenna side of things. What does this do? I'm going to connect the ground side of the antenna in here and see how that does. Quieted everything down. That's better. It's right where 860 should be. But my guess is if I relied on the loop antenna and simply steered this radio the right way, we would get even better reception. That's my guess. Let's go back down. 740. 710. 680. It's just an overwhelming noise signal at that spot. See, I notice the magic eye's not doing very much here. On this signal, you'd think this eye would practically close. That says something. Here's a strong guy, 590. Let me try taking off the outdoor antenna now. Ground first. And then the rest. We're back on the loop. Watching the magic eye to judge signal strength. Very low. Using volume control to judge it. That's a lot of volume turning. So those things suggest to me that there's probably a gain to be gotten by doing the alignment on this part of the radio. It also tells me the oscillator setting is excellent because the radio is tuning the right stations in the right spot. So the oscillator settings are not the issue. Just
just the RF settings, probably. Okay, I'm going to give the shortwave an attempt now. The shortwave relies on that outdoor antenna, outdoor antenna. So I'm going to hook it up again. First, again, just with the lead. Oh, when I was hooking up my outdoor antenna while we're listening to AM, I'm hooking it up to the terminals intended for shortwave. But most of these radios doing that will supply more antenna signal to the AM side of things too. Most of these radios are built that way on purpose. So here we go. Okay, so I don't know what we're going to hear at this time of day. And what time of day is it? Oh, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Now that's just one lead from my antenna. So where are we on here? So this also has a long wave receiver. Nothing much to hear down there, but all kinds of noise. But we're on the short wave, 49 meter band. This is the bottom of the short wave band. Starts at 6 megahertz and goes up to 18. Okay, so good. It's a big coverage. I'm not going to get anything down here probably, but maybe up here. Wow, that doesn't sound right. It should be doing stuff. It should be picking up noise and interference. Oh, what happened there? What happened there? What's happening? I'm just knocking on the radio a bit. And it started receiving. It's getting louder and louder on its own. Now it's receiving because it's picking up noises and stuff. Let's go up. There we are.
When in Psalm 2:7 where it says, "Today I have begotten you," today for God is eternity. And so the idea of an eternal begotten Son came into the whole system through Origen, who allegorized the whole Old Testament to make sense of it from a philosophical point of view. And then you had Sibelius, who was trying to take seriously this oneness of
So we're almost certainly listening to 930. 9330 is really what I want to say. So hard to see, but that's 9, that's 10. So this would be 930. Again, right on the money. Right on the money. That's a very, very strong shortwave station. It's from United States. There's that crazy noise I hear all the time. The helicopter. This is pretty bad. Again, it should be picking up all kinds of noises and weird stuff. Not just the helicopter.
Before he came into existence, much trouble because a lot of people already believed that, and a lot of people didn't believe that. They believed he always existed. So there was a huge.
Now there's a hum. There's a hum in this signal. Tune it in, you hear a hum.
Which is what was settled at the Council of Nicaea in 325. The short version is a bunch of bishops got together, and Constantine was the main driving force there, and he even suggested the word homoousios, which we'll get to what that means. That's the Greek word, That means same substance. Jesus and the Father are the same stuff.
It's a very interesting topic. He's talking about the meeting at Nicaea, which produced the Nicene Creed. If you're a Christian, you probably repeat the Nicene Creed repeatedly, and no one ever tells you why you're doing that. That's a very interesting topic. Look it up on Google. Nicene, meeting at Nicaea, or something like that, or Nicene Creed origin, or something. It's very interesting. Very sharp tuning, but nice. Okay, my conclusion there is it's not working very well. Hey, let me hook up the ground here. Let me be sure of this. See what happens with this strong signal. Where'd he go?
Let you know. Said that he can clean up. Augusta Hippo is his major promoter, major figure during this time.
Very sharp
who
tuning.
said that the only way to understand love is to understand the Trinity.
Okay, I'm going to disconnect the ground while we're listening.
Because you don't understand the Trinity. If you understood the Trinity, you would understand love. Because the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit mutually loved each other forever before the world existed. That was Augustine's contribution.
What is that hum?
I mean, he did a lot of other things too. I don't want to misrepresent anyone. So Nestorius, he's trying to work out this. He believes in the Trinity, and he's trying to figure out how is it possible that Jesus can be God and man.
Yeah, how is that possible? The question I might ask is, how come Jesus didn't tell anybody about electricity? How come Jesus didn't tell anybody about bacteria? How come they kept all that secret back then? Okay, not to get too controversial here. Well, I think the idea here is the radio is not performing the way it should or could, and that may be implicating the alignment of the radio, and that's what's got to be next on the list here. Only I have no alignment instructions to follow for this particular radio. So, break time to think about it before I start monkeying around. Well, I left my shop for 10 minutes, and when I've come back, without doing anything, we're still on the shortwave band, haven't done anything.
Liuto. Correcto.
What happened?
Allá en San Juan, la capital puertorriqueña, y llegó al draft.
Where did it come from?
En el sexto round, en la campaña. Sí. ¿Vieron? El Yuto nunca se pensó que se iba a...
That's Radio Marti, American broadcasts in Spanish to Cuba, or to Florida, as I suspect, really. The Cubans in Florida. If anybody's listening on shortwave. Well, hear that? That tells me now that the radio sensitivity has gone way up from where it was when I was last in here. Did you do something while I was away? What happened?
On 1st January 22, the weekend in the Emirates will shift once again. It will be Friday noon.
I don't think there's any particular hum with this station.
Their primary days of their weekend.
Some of these shortwave stations, they broadcast a hum right out of their system.
On Friday, which has been a part of Islam from the time of the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, they have shifted that back to 2
Now we're up around
which is
just above 12 megahertz.
like almost unheard of.
So while I was out, something happened and this radio came completely to life.
la segunda entrada.
And the other said, Nay, but thy son
Bit of a hum
is
there.
the dead, and my son is the living.
And the radio's not plugged into a regular outlet. It's plugged into an isolation transformer. It's possible that's a modulation hum. It's picking up stuff all over the place. So now we're up 15.5. This is probably 15.770. This is probably Master TV.
Around 25% of the landscape is covered in a forest bed. Just as you feel
Well, this, yeah. Don't dare align a radio that's got some kind of intermittent problem in it, where the signal comes and goes. It's working really well right now. I should just leave it. That's my alignment technique. So we're going to try to hunt down what's going on. I have my stick. This is the suspicious tube here. So I'm doing some light tapping. Is it possible radio conditions changed during those few minutes I was away? So the other day I had a shortwave radio playing, but I really wasn't listening to it. It was playing in a room, and I was watching TV in the next room. But I had it loud enough that I could hear, just like this. Just hear some talk in the background. I'm not paying attention. But then suddenly I noticed that the signal began to go down, and the noise level came up really high, to the point where within about a minute and a half the station had disappeared, virtually disappeared, and all there was a roar of noise. I then checked fairly quickly after realizing that something was happening on the NOAA website for radio, for space weather effects on radio. They have a special page for that. And what was happening right at that moment was an X-ray burst had reached the Earth from the sun, and there was a blackout in North America. It was very interesting. It shows it on a map. It's a great feature, and so you can look at the map. And you can click play, and it'll play what's been going on for the last couple of hours. And right at the end of the play, which would be the current time, a huge red dot had formed, a huge red spot had formed over the top of North America, indicating a X-ray radio blackout. And I'd heard it. All the shortwave listening I've done, have never actually heard that kind of thing happen. It persisted for about 15-20 minutes. It came on really quick and then tapered down slowly until eventually reception kind of returned to the way it was. Maybe it took, I don't know how long, an hour altogether to. So what happened was the sun had an explosion on it. About eight minutes later, X-rays strike the top of the Earth's atmosphere and eliminate the reflectivity, and I hate to call it that, but let's call it that, the reflectivity of the upper atmosphere, and stop shortwave signals from traveling. The sun was right over top of North America. This was mid-afternoon, and so the X-rays struck the Earth's atmosphere above North America, mostly, or at least it had a radio effect above North America, and blacked it out. It's called an X-ray blackout, radio blackout. Never caught one before. Very exciting. When I was a kid doing this stuff, there's no hope of understanding what was going on. But today, with the internet and all this fantastic information, radio listening hobby is hugely advanced.
over what it was, and throw in an SDR radio, and it's a whole new world of shortwave listening. Yeah, okay, so you don't hear as many international broadcasts anymore, especially in English, and especially beamed towards North America. I don't think there's any beaming them over here, so I can hear them. But there's all kinds of other stuff. And one of the videos I posted a little piece of air traffic control over the Atlantic Ocean. I think a lot of people don't realize it, but when planes are flying over the ocean, the only radio communication they can achieve right now is via shortwave, via this stuff we're listening to. It's done on the single sideband, upper sideband, and there are channels, and you can look this up on the internet very easily, and they give you the 10 frequencies that might be operating. There's a New York Center, there's Gander in Canada, way out on the East Coast, and then there's one in Scotland, I think it is Scotland or Ireland, called, and I'm going to forget the name now, Swanwick, I think. And you can, it's a little hard to hear the European one, but I can hear certainly Gander, and New York is the one that I played on that video briefly. And that particular, the reason I did that, the thing that was so interesting about it was not only could I hear the air traffic control center, which is, you know, onshore, closer to me, I could hear the airplanes as they were flying. A lot of fun. So it was a lot of fun on shortwave. And SDR is the key thing because you get that visual frequency display. You can see all the signals coming down the waterfall display, and that's really great. So I'm talking away here, waiting for the radio to act up in some way, but it hasn't acted up. So I should get a little more aggressive here. I'm going to flex the board more aggressively. A little bit of retuning, not to be too surprised by doing this. So the retuning there, not to be too surprised by that. But what was that click? Seems awfully stable now. So I'm really looking for a pop and a change in operation. Okay, I'm going to wiggle this tube here. Hopefully not burn my finger. Is it possible there was another radio blackout? So I'm going to check that website and see if that's what was happening. The sun is very active right now. These large, very large sunspots aimed at us. Let me check. Okay, this is the NOAA website I was talking about. It's called the Radio Communications Dashboard. So if you're into shortwave radio, ham radio, you should be looking at this. This right here is called the D region absorption prediction, and it has a click to play. Right now it's showing us sometime in the past, valid at April 3rd. Unfortunately, it's in UTC, so this would be 2 o'clock in the morning my time, so quite a few hours ago. But if I take this slider and slide it forward, you can see a couple of things happening. So one is you can see this area moving to the left. So this is what the sun is shining directly on. So if it fires out X-rays, they will affect this area at this time, which would be 8:58 UTC. The current time is way down here. We're going to get there. I'll just keep sliding. You can just click play and it will go on its own. So you can see it. You can see that there are ups and downs that last a short period. Look at that. So this is close to what I saw the other day, only what I saw, this whole thing went red and was sitting right on top of North America here. So this is out over the Atlantic Ocean. So you could guess, airplanes flying, generally they fly up like this. On maps like this, their route is curved because of the flat map problem. So they would be just on the edge of this kind of thing, but if
if you had a strong shortwave radio blackout, I would think airplanes flying over the Atlantic are kind of on their own. It must happen. Now, as more time goes by, you can see it recede. Now it's back down to almost nothing. So there was a radio blackout. How long ago? So what time is it now? So we go here, 1534, and if we go back to the blackout period, say right in here, 13. So was it 15? What was it? 1530. 1530. And then the peak was, for easy calculating, 1330, 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago, and in the last hour it's looked like this. So not much happening. So I don't think it was a radio blackout that caused what the radio was doing here. A really strong blackout will turn your radio into a hissing machine, and that's all. It won't pick up anything. There's been times where I've turned on my shortwave radios and thought, oh my god, it's not working, because it's nothing but hiss. That's because of one of these X-ray bursts. So, okay, not the case today. And some other interesting things on here: geomagnetic activity, and I don't know what to say about all these different things, but there's the K for the planet index, KP index. Some other interesting stuff. So anyway, good website, but doesn't explain why the radio did what it did. You know, just in thinking about this a little more, even though I've been listening to shortwave more or less all my life, is it possible that a blackout over the Atlantic Ocean will stop transmissions from arriving in North America from, say, Europe and the Middle East and Africa and that, because it has to bounce its way through the area of the atmosphere that's being affected by the X-rays that are coming in? That sounds possible to me. Yeah, that does sound possible to me. I don't know though, I'm not sure about this stuff. That's what makes this hobby so much fun, is not knowing what you're doing. It's great. Should I try any alignment things on this radio? That's where I'm hanging here. And I'm starting to think no. I should just leave everything alone. I have no reason to think there's a substantial weakness. It appears to be some kind of intermittent thing going on, but I can't make it appear. It could be that a substantial amount of heat is built up in the radio now, and whatever is causing the intermittent has gotten itself into a stable and good state. Well, maybe if I turn the radio off, let the whole thing cool way off. You know what I've got? I've got cooling spray. Hey, I bought a big can of cooling spray. It's still in the bag here, because I was so disappointed to not have any there a week ago. Oh my gosh, do I dare spray this stuff around? What would I hope to achieve? Well, it would depend upon where the intermittent is and if it's temperature sensitive. This stuff is super cold, and it is super cold. It's dangerously cold. You wouldn't want to spray yourself with any of this. You would not want to spray any tube, or I think it's going to crack. But I could give a somewhat long distance cooling here and see if anything happens. This is a real long shot, but why not? Because why not? Okay, staying away from the tube. And we're operating on this. Let me check. Yeah, we're operating on this group of adjustments here. Wait a minute. I think there's some kind of lock on here. Some kind of lock. There we go. Okay, lock is off. Let me just take a spray into the air. Oh yeah, this stuff just sprays out like crazy. Don't hit the tube. Oh.
Now that can cause a retuning, but I'm looking for a significant and sudden drop. So all I did was just kind of cause the radio to retune a bit. And I don't dare try spraying those components. They're too close to this hot tube here. It's a brand new can. Look at the end of the nozzle. Well, once again, I went too long for my little hard drive in my computer and I jammed it. The video cut off suddenly there, as you can see just when you were looking at the cold tip of this spray can. Consequently, I've eaten my lunch and a lot of time has gone by, and that means this radio's cool again. And so I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to turn it on right now. And we're going to find out if it's gone into a low reception state or if it's maintained the high reception state. Just letting it warm up here. We turn on the backlight. Much from it. How do we know? Volume check. Well, I don't know. Did I turn the volume down before I turned it off? I don't know. Let's see what we can find now.
Excellencies, our funding appeal for Afghanistan this year is $4.4 billion. The world's largest appeal for a single country.
Nuestro llamado para financiamiento para Afganistán para este año es 24,000.
That's interesting. The crunchy sound.
David did so. And David did so.
You are listening to the Overcomer Ministry in Walterboro, South Carolina, where the coming of Jesus Christ is preached 24 hours a day throughout the entire world. Our prayer request line is 843.
Well, I think it's working at a high level. I'm picking up these little noises here. Picking up lots of stations.
There is simply no justification for such discrimination. Educated girls become educated women who lift their families and communities into a better future.
Simplemente no hay justificación para tal discriminación. Nunca las unidades para.
Very tricky to tune this guy here. Darn it. Let me just adjust something. Oh, that didn't work. It's been a day of camera nonsense.
wanted to get the camera a little further away, but my shop's only so big. When it was in the low reception state, if there really was such a thing, it seemed to me I got almost nothing except a strong station. Then later I was able to pick up these, I don't know what they call them, these little, it certainly is there now. Down around. That's 10 megahertz right there. And the 933 was about here.
The Earth's front would also be affected. Revelation.
I think it's working really, really well. I think it's working really, really well. Huh. Okay. I think I'm done with this radio. I don't think there's anything more I can or should try to do with it. Because again, there's always a risk. Oh, I gotta do the FM pointer. Oh, right. That's the last thing we gotta do. The FM pointer.